see you all today. Saw some of you last week. Some new faces that I'm seeing today. Today, we're talking about love and marriage. Because I'm a professional about this. I don't think anyone's a professional on this. You could be married for 50 years and you're still learning new things. Today we're going to talk about what it looks like to reconstruct. We're going to talk about reconstruction. Reconstruction within marriages, families, communities. To reconstruct, reconstruction suggests that this is not our first go-round. This is not the first time we've done this. Let me tell you a quick story. My oldest son, Oliver, actually all my kids are really into Legos. And half my living room has been overtaken. We moved here just about 7 months ago, and I put the bookshelves up to put my books in the bookshelves. And none of the books have been unpacked, but all the shelves are filled with Legos. And then there's more that are on the Lego table, and then there's more in a bin under the Lego table, and then there's more that I find in random places. Anyways, when we first started getting into Legos, my daughter Ellis had just been born, and Oliver was just about a little over 2, which is kind of young for Legos, but this is the exact set we got him. This is his first Lego set. And I was so excited about it. I was like, I'm going to teach him how to play with Legos. So we sat down at the table, and we opened the box, and I got out the little book, and it had all the instructions on how to put all these little people together, and the slide and everything, and I had bag 1, bag 2, bag 3, and I'm opening up all the bags, and I'm organizing everything, and the colors and the shapes, and we're going to do this in a very organized fashion, and we're going to put this beautiful Lego set together, and I'm looking at it with Oliver, and we're putting it together carefully, and he's not really paying attention. He's kind of just messing with the bags and doing his own thing, and I keep trying to bring him into it, but yeah, he was doing his own thing, but I was like, that's okay, he's young. The box says age 5. We're starting a little early, so I will do it for him, and he will appreciate it and love that his mother taught him how to properly play with Legos, right? So I start working on this, I finish it, and he's like, wow, Mama, and we're all excited, and then he takes it apart. I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, that's okay, we'll just put it back together. And then he takes it apart. And then the slide's like facing up. And then Grandma or Papa or someone else got him another Lego set, and we put it together like the book said, and then he kept taking it apart, and then he mixed the sets. I kind of realized at this point that I wasn't having fun. As much as I wanted my child to learn about how to play with Legos, I don't think I could keep playing with him because he wasn't doing it right. So I backed away slowly, and I stopped watching how he was playing with Legos. But if you come to my house now, let me tell you, this boy's taking it to another level. He looks at the books, and he's like, all right, I'll do that. And then he builds his own thing. And it's amazing. And it's amazing. What can I say? But here's the thing. I might have tried to manage the situation a little too much. I might finally be able to admit to myself that there might have been a little bit of control. 2 weeks ago, when Ty was talking about marriage, when he was talking about relationships, he suggested that our number one responsibility to our spouse, to the people that we love, is to protect them from our control. And then last week, we talked a little bit about how do we even know when we're controlling someone? How do we know that that's the place that we're operating from? And then we recognize that to understand what we're bringing to the table, we have to deconstruct. We have to enter into that sacred space with our Creator. We have to take apart who we are, and we have to look at the reality of who we are, the beautiful things, the ugly things, and we have to operate from a place of knowledge of self. And when we're talking about reconstruction, like I said, we're fundamentally talking about trying again. But to do this, you have to know what you're working with. You have to get down to the elemental nature. I've got something to show. I'm an educator, so I've got props. These are my props. There are two ways to get broken down to our elemental state. One is by choice. Okay, this is me. What am I about? I'm going to open this door here. I don't know how to open this. Oliver, you might need to help me. I can open this door here. I can take this off. I can see what's inside. I can do that. But the other way to get broken down to our elemental state is against our will. Someone's got to step on that. We've got to be careful, folks. Sometimes it's against our will. I'm going to get my notes down here. Thank you, Eric. I didn't know it was going to be that dramatic. I didn't know. Here's the thing. When we're broken down to our elemental state, when we've been broken down, we have to ask ourselves, how do you respond to being broken? How do you respond to that? James 1:2-4 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." I hate that verse. It's not joy. When I had my first child on the day she was born and I held her in my arms and she didn't have a heartbeat, I didn't feel joy. Last year, when our good friend Kristen, at 40 years old, died of colon cancer and her exuberant, joyful smile was gone, I didn't feel joy. Some of you have lost people that you love. Some of you have felt the brokenness of relationships. Some of you have been let go from jobs. Some of you have been hurt. Where do we find the joy? How do we find it? How do we find it when we look around and we see war-torn nations and racial injustice and floods and destruction? How do we find the joy? I can tell you that there's been many times in my life that I didn't know how to find it. I was at my elemental nature, and I was broken, and I didn't know how to find it. Reconstruction is healing. And the thing about healing is that you must choose to heal. And the thing about choosing to heal is that there's two ways that we can approach this. We can choose to heal ourselves. We can't really choose to heal the people around us. We can provide environments and the space for people to flourish and heal in. And maybe that's the purest expression of love that we can provide for each other. When we walk away from a marriage, when we're abused mentally, physically, emotionally, and we choose to enter into healing, we're ultimately valuing the sanctity of marriage. When we choose to stay in a marriage where our partner is choosing to heal and where we are choosing to heal, we are valuing the sanctity of marriage. The thing about it is that neither of these choices are easy. Neither of these choices come without pain. Neither of these choices come without work. But we have to take the step and we have to make the choice that ultimately is about healing, is about reconstruction. I think something that can be very dangerous is the pretense of reconstruction. And I think that's easy. I think that David and I have been in that place in our marriage. I think I've been in that place with friendships. I think that it's really easy to be about the business of the pretense of reconstruction. At the end of the Civil War, we enter the Reconstruction era. And during this time, this country was making amends for the scourge of slavery. And so there were changes that were being made legally, economically, socially, to right the wrong of slavery. The interesting thing is, after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated and Andrew Jackson became president, some of those things stopped. And interestingly enough, we call it the Reconstruction era. Our country at that point was interested in healing, and the facade of our nation appeared to be healed, but the soul of our nation was not. There was still more work to do. And some of that work happened during the civil rights movement. Some of that work is still happening. But the journey of healing cannot be about the pretense of reconstruction. As I said before, we can't heal someone else. It's not your partner's job to heal you. It is your job to take on the responsibility of your own healing. What we can do for our partners is provide an environment and a space for them to pursue that healing. That's what we can do for them. I think there's something to be said about taking this journey on. I think it requires a foundational shift. I think it requires an understanding that at our very core, we must be healed. We're healed from the inside out. My kids love this song. Some of you might know this song. We built this city on rock and roll. Y'all know that song? We built this city. My kids love that song, so we play it very loud in our car with our windows rolled down, often. I'd like to ask you, what is your city built on? What are you built on? We serve a God who creates and shares and generates love that is healing. When we bring that to our marriages and our friendships and our community, when we loose the chains and choose to heal, when we provide environments and spaces that are about the real work of reconstruction and healing, it is good. It is good. ultimately, when we're talking about healing and we're talking about a God who is in the business of healing, we're talking about heavenly things. Ultimately, heaven is about the space and environment of being healed. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Isaiah 43:19. When you commit to this work, when you commit to your God, and when you ask, when you cry out to him for that healing, when you say, I'm ready for that reconstruction, when you commit to love your partner and to love them by ultimately being about your healing and by ultimately being about providing a nurturing space so that they can be about their healing. We're doing heavenly work, folks.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. We hope that message was a blessing to you. God's Word is powerful. It penetrates into our minds, into our hearts, brings about transformation in every aspect of our lives. Listen, we don't want you to miss any content, so again, we want to encourage you to click on subscribe and track with the content that's going to be coming out week after week. And if you'd like to partner with us in this global ministry of taking the gospel of Christ to the whole world, we want to invite you to become a partner in this ministry. Click Give and join with us.